You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Coming up, the Joplin SWAT team secures a drug bust that leads to a mass arrest.
Thunderstorms not only picking up as far as movement, but also too dropping more than an inch of rain already. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And a new study shows vaccinations after the infection of COVID-19 virus has benefits against long COVID symptoms. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Prosecutors file murder charges following Saturday night's fatal shooting in Pittsburgh. Newly released court documents indicate the suspect fired shots at 3 addresses, all on the 100 block of West 23rd Street in Pittsburgh. When officers arrived, they found 2 women suffering from gunshots. 40-year-old Stephanie Short of Pittsburgh died at the scene. 46-year-old Velma Cuby was in stable condition with a gunshot wound. 39-year-old James Hamilton of Pittsburgh is now charged with first-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder, among other crimes. You can read more details about this case on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Joplin SWAT team comes in to help secure the scene of a drug bust. This is the latest sting operation for the Ozark Drug Enforcement Team. It started just before 11 Tuesday night at a home at 1107 East North Street. Witnesses say the SWAT team used a flashbang as the operation began. Officers detained the occupants across the street while detectives served a narcotics warrant, searching the house, a vehicle in the backyard, and a shed. JPD arrested a number of people, although the names and charges are unknown at this point. Detectives also recovered a reported stolen motorcycle. Joplin's Metro Emergency Transport System, or METS, held an open house for the National EMS Week, celebrating its 40 years of service in the area. State Representatives Bob Bromley and Lane Roberts and State Senator Bill White presented resolutions. They were joined by some original members of the first EMS team at METS.
The recognition of the job that they do is not always there. So as far as for me, I think just being able to honor and show the appreciation to the men and women that are doing this today, it's harder now than it's ever been.
METS was originally formed under the direction of 3 Joplin hospitals, St. John's, Freeman, and Oak Hill. Speaking of worthy celebrations, the Joplin Fire Department hosted a ceremony to celebrate some new promotions. The department held a badge pinning ceremony and open house to recognize Mark Cox for his promotion to captain and Jeffrey Gallant and Nicholas Mercer to driver and operator. Along with the badges, Fire Chief Gerald Ezel shared brief comments about their firefighter careers with the city of Joplin.
To us, so they can come in and help us serve and protect the city of Joplin. So the family should be included. I'm coming up on 35 years. I wouldn't have made it without my wife supporting me.
Training Chief Mark Cannon and Joplin City Manager Nick Edwards spoke at the ceremony. It concluded with the firefighter prayer. After a 2-year hiatus due to the pandemic, Carthage brings back an annual event to prevent substance abuse in children, but slightly rebranded. The event's once known as Mudstock has now become Sudstock. Instead of pits of mud, area youth will get the chance to run around in foam bubbles. The idea behind the name change is to promote being and staying clean. Organizers also say it's even more important to be back following an uptick in substance abuse during the pandemic.
And then during the pandemic, mental health declined and substance misuse increased. And so it's more and more important for us to get that messaging out and to show them there are other ways to have fun and to deal with life's stress rather than turning to substances.
Sudstock will take place June 25th. Well, can you imagine eating at McDonald's for half a century? Every day? Well, Don Korksky's love of Big Macs earned him a place in the Guinness Book of World Records. On Tuesday, he celebrated 50 years of eating one nearly every single day by, you guessed it, eating one. That's all he had to do, eat one every day. Korsky had his first Big Mac on May 17, 1972. Since then, he's been loving it and loving it and loving it. Korsky says there have only been 8 days in 5 decades that he hasn't had a Big Mac. After he ate his 30,000th in 2018, Guinness recorded him as the first person to hold a Big Mac consumption record. Last December, he reached 32,672. Of course, he credits his active lifestyle as the reason for his relative good health, saying he burns a lot of calories.
Ray Kroc would be proud. R.I.P. Ray Kroc, by the way. All right, let's concentrate on what is in southwest Missouri. We're gonna work from south to north on this one. That gives you an idea of the lightning. But now coming out of Berry County and moving into Lawrence and along I-49, we not only have the high, heavy, intense rain, but now we're getting reports of nickel-sized hail as well to go along with 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So we're loading up on Monette, Marionville, Aurora, Pierce City. That's kind of the direction that we're taking. We're going from the southwest up to the northeast. So then as we graduate over I-44, heaviest of the rain moving in between Lamar and Greenfield, just on the other side of 160. 160 is going to be problematic. 37 we know is prone to flood in that area as well. Flash flooding is going to be our major concern right here. Let's push up to 49, right at the Drywood exit, just to the south of Nevada. Torrential rainfall coming down there. As far as our creeks and rivers go, that's going to be the Marmonton, the Osage, the Little Osage, that are going to be prone to flooding. And up in Fort Scott, this is that northeasterly movement. Let me readjust here geographically, because instead of moving straight east like it was earlier, about 45 minutes ago, it shifted to the northeast and decided to do so at about 45 miles per hour, so it's moving fast. Fort Scott, you were just about done with the heaviest of the rain, and then Chanute and Iola that were just inundated earlier this morning, now just shower activity. And once the heaviest of the rainfall passes, that lightning drastically calms down as well. We're not going to worry about a whole lot of backfill here coming out of Ponca City headed toward Bartlesville. That's going to sweep down to the south. Let's zoom in here on northeast Oklahoma, because while the rain has calmed down, still showers rolling from Ottawa into Delaware County. Now, with that being said, here's why flooding is going to be our main concern, because this is what we've picked up in just the last 12 hours. Right there in Crawford County, we're looking, Tanya was asking, everybody's like, what's it going to be in my backyard? And look at that. I think we may have nailed that number. I think we may have been spot on that. Inch down there in Cherokee County as well. As far as look at the state line, that's up there around an inch and a half. So that's why I want to reiterate, flash flooding is going to be our major concern. If you look at the numbers coming out of Joplin Regional Airport, the rain accumulation is not impressive. It's just how hard and how fast it fell. And oftentimes that's a better indicator of our flooding concerns more so than the pure number that we get. It's how hard and how fast does it come down, how much can your soil tolerate. Now, after the rain passes, it's very comfortable outside. High 60s, low 70s, not too bad at all. And then after we kick this out of here, we'll actually see sunshine. Here's the problem. We kick out the thunderstorms. We do not kick out the humidity. That's not going to go anywhere, especially when you get down to the southern portion of the 4 states where it's easily going to feel about like 90 degrees. And so a quick little warm up. And then overnight, this is going to be a warm night, as we'll be in the 70s. All the way into Friday morning. We get sporadic rainfall until we get to Friday night into Saturday. Then we get a little uptick, continue to roll through with rain. Saturday's just going to be a tad bit dreary. And then Saturday night into Sunday, a little bit of a cold front. Overnight low is going to drop down into the 40s.
All right. Well, coming up next, if it's Thursday, you know what that means. Chef Anthony heads back into Studio K with a recipe that's gonna make everyone very happy this morning. Yup, we're making frog legs. And later, members of the legendary rock group, The Police, talk about the release of a long-lost documentary. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Welcome back. We've got Chef Anthony in studio this morning, and we are making frog legs today. So excited about this.
I was so excited. The kids asked me yesterday, what are you doing? And I said, just call me Doc Hoppa. And none of them caught the reference. I almost cried. So I have my frog legs, And what I've done is I've gone ahead and separated them so I had the individual legs, and I have some zucchini and squash because I really like fried zucchini and squash.
Why not?
So we're going to get those ready to go. And we have our breading station set up that we did earlier. We have our seasoned flours and our egg wash. Remember, the egg wash is just eggs violently whipped together and then add water to them to kind of thin them out a little bit. All it's for is to help the second layer of batter stick to the protein.
Do you always violently whip your eggs together?
Yes.
Okay.
I take out all my frustrations on the eggs.
I'd never heard that phrase before when referring to whipping your eggs violently.
Yes, violence
still
in
in
the
the bowl.
eggs. Correct. So we've got to make sure you get that air in there. So what we'll do is I have my oil going, and you can see I'm starting to get a little bit of wispy smokes coming off the top of it, so I know I'm almost at temperature. So I'm going to start with my frog legs.
And we're double breading it this morning.
Yes.
I like that.
And shake off the excess. Now keep one hand is going to be for your to handle your wet frog legs.
Yeah, otherwise you're just going to be dipping back in your...
Well, you're going to end up with giant monster fingers. So we don't want to do that. And here I have my first one ready to go. And I'm going to get a couple of these good and ready before we start
I probably
putting
should
them
have
in to
put some
fry.
gloves on to help you, but I'll just watch this morning.
That'll work. We don't want to get you
Are you
all
going
dirty
to bread
for
your
later.
zucchini as well, or just?
Yes, we're going to bread our zucchini and
nice.
squash, and I've cut it nice and thin. And here I said keep one hand out, and I went
Now,
ahead and did it anyway.
if you don't go catching your own frogs to make frog legs, where can you find these?
Simon Market has these. These are beautiful frog legs. There's a lot of meat on them. And I believe I got 4 frogs for $7,
Wow.
which is a really good price.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
So
Yeah.
you can do, and I like frog legs every once in a while, and I like to pick on my daughter a little bit. I took her when she was younger, much younger. She's 21 now. When she was about 8, I took her to a Chinese buffet, and she made a big, giant, mounded thing of frog legs on her plate.
Did she know what they were?
She didn't know what they were. She thought they were little chicken legs.
Yeah. Tastes like
So-
chicken, right?
And she sat there and ate them all. And I told her, I said, how were those frog legs? She goes, that wasn't frog. She goes, that was chicken. And I said, no, those were frog legs. And she kind of smirked down and shrunk down into her chair. She was so embarrassed. She thought it was wrong. She didn't know what she'd eaten. She was going through the Miss Piggy is the queen of all things stage.
Aww.
So it was kind of, to me, I thought it was rather humorous. She still hasn't
I'm pretty
forgiven
sure
me.
if Miss Piggy had the opportunity, she'd eat frog legs too.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure she would. So, and I'm getting my vegetables ready to go. A little bit, and they're going to do them the exact same way.
Okay.
And zucchini and squash, I feel, work the best for this. You can do frog. You can do carrots. You can do green beans. Green beans turn out really well this way.
Oh.
So, but cut them nice and thin.
Basically, whatever produce you can get fresh works
Exactly.
best, right?
Fresh produce works really good with this. And as always, our friends over at Martinez took really good care of me to give me some really good stuff. I'm very excited. I even tried to fry watermelon yesterday
Really?
to try to see how it would
How
come
did
out.
it turn out? Okay, so Martinez offers this these box specials.
Correct,
Where
and
you
those
can
are
pick
what I
between
use.
fruit or veggie, or they offer a combo one. They offer a keto box, like different options of mixed produce, which is a really great idea if you're thinking about for summer, because you've maybe you're a parent that's relied on the school district too long to make sure your kids get their veggies and their
Well, don't forget
their fruits
we
and
had-
veggies and stuff. So you need to think healthy for the summer.
You do.
For sure.
And don't forget that the schools offer the summer lunch programs.
Yes, they do.
So that will help out for those who need. Just come in and bring the kids in.
Yes.
And the ladies at the high school will take very good care of you. Chef Monica is probably one of the most talented chefs I've ever dealt with. Her imagination is
Do you know when that starts
crazy.
up for the summer? Or?
I am not sure,
I
but
know
I
it's
will
posted
know.
on the USD 250's website.
And
You
I'll
just go under.
I'll ask her today and
website.
find out and let you know next week.
Okay, cool.
So
Yeah, we can-
I have a good assortment of our veggies going. I have
think
all
most
my
of the schools
veggies.
offer that the breakfast and
I
offer
believe
the
they do.
meals, So
But if you had a choice, I would say go see Chef Monica. I love her.
can
Her
get there, yeah.
imagination is just wonderful.
that's awesome.
So I eat in there every chance I get. One, it's cheaper than going out to a restaurant to eat. Two, she makes so much stuff inside there, and her talent and her skills are just wonderful.
Kids don't know what they have.
That's right. And our frog legs are already starting to sizzle up and getting really good and starting to turn golden brown. I'm going to throw in our vegetables.
Okay. How long does it take to cook a frog leg at medium heat like this?
3 or 4 minutes.
Okay. Not too bad.
No, not too bad at all.
Okay, so now that we've got everything in there, let's go ahead and go to break, and then when we come back, we'll check out. They should be finishing up pretty quickly, so finish up our frog legs. I'm excited to try them out.
I am too.
All right, we will be right back.
We'll return to Chef Anthony and Tanya here in just a second, but first want to point out we have a severe thunderstorm warning lasting until 8 for particularly Stoneberry and Lawrence County. Give you an idea geographically about where that stands. As this storm system in particular, it's not only the heavy rain, 60-mile-an-hour winds, the possibility of quarter-size hail. Have not picked up any storm reports of the hail as of yet, but certainly radar indicates that it is possible of dropping up to quarter-size hail. So once again, severe thunderstorm warning for Stoneberry and Lawrence County lasting for the next 40 minutes. Now let's go back to Studio K with Tanya and Chef Anthony.
All right, I know you can't smell it at home, but this is smelling amazing. In the skillet, in our cast iron skillet, we've got zucchini, we have squash, and frog legs. So excited. And the seasoning, the breading that you used was super simple. It was basically just flour and then your choice of seasoning added to it.
Correct. And that's the nice thing about it. I know there's a lot of barbecuers out there who go, well, my spice rub is the greatest ever. Good. Use it in when you fry stuff like this. Use that rub that you love so much, because you can put it in almost anything.
And the one you picked was actually a pork rub.
Correct. And I like the subtleties of that particular rub. I think it comes through very nicely. But we're gonna bring these vegetables out of the fryer, and I put them on a little rack to drain. And now, while they're still a little warm, I'm gonna add a little salt to them. And I'm using my Applewood smoked sea salt because I love the way that it tastes, and the smell is wonderful. So I'm gonna let those drain for just a minute.
Oh, yeah.
I'm double checking my frog, and they are almost done. I'm gonna give them one more flip.
Oh, those are going to be delicious.
Oh, they look so good, don't
Now,
they?
are frog legs something like chicken? You got to be really careful that you get them cooked all the way through.
It doesn't hurt to try and get them cooked through. It's suggested that you cook them to 145.
145.
So it's relatively easy. Just make sure you have your trusty thermometer, and you'll be good to go.
So when you do green beans like this, do you bread those as well?
I do. I love to bread green beans. That's one of my favorite snacks at school, because I usually have green beans in the fridge at school. Or I'll even pickle green beans and sugar snap peas and sneak them into the movie theater. Eat them like popcorn.
He did not say that. We do not do that. We never sneak anything into the movie theater.
No, we are very well.
Oh, you're talking about your home movie theater.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
But you know, I have this friend who shows occasional things on a big giant screen at their establishment. That's the best place. With friends. Share it with friends.
Yes, as long as you share, because you don't sneak food into a food establishment either.
Well, that's true. But then I don't think it's a food establishment at that moment in time. I think that's just a friend's environment.
There you go.
And I'm going to salt just a little bit more and give it just a little bit more character. And I have our vegetables already on here. I'm going to transfer over my frog legs.
Oh, I need to let those cool just a little bit.
Now, Tanya, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Do you know why they say, well, frog legs taste just like chicken?
Because that's the go-to on anything that you don't know what it tastes like. You just say it tastes like chicken.
Actually, what it is your mind can't identify what it's tasting. So what it's doing is it's going, well, the texture is chicken. So it goes and says, oh, it's chicken.
Okay. I'm going to burn my mouth. I know this.
Those are cooled a little bit. You'll be okay.
That's why I went for this first. Right.
It's just a little hot still.
That's so good.
Isn't that great?
Oh my goodness.
Crunchy, flaky, soft on the inside.
That is delicious. Oh wow. And that's simply just the flour and a little bit of your seasoning and fried oil. Okay.
And you can do this, it's what the technique that is pan frying, but we also use what they call, when you don't use something that sits on the bottom of the pan and you drop it in and it submerges into water. It's actually called the swimmer's method because it sinks to the bottom and then rises to the top like a fish.
Normally I would just like pick this up and bite into it like a chicken leg, but I don't want to injure myself.
Of course not. Might want to give that a little blow.
You can see the heat coming off of it. While we're waiting for it to cool just a hair, tell us a little bit what you have planned for next week.
Next week we have the Memorial Day cook-off. We're going to be outside doing custom brats available from Simon Market. We have going to have the Bavarian, mango spice, and mango habanero. I believe he's going to do a special pineapple jalapeno
That sounds delicious.
for us, and a Philly brat, maybe even a couple more. And we're also going to do a special hamburger that he does.
Nice. That sounds delicious.
It's going to be great.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
It doesn't taste like chicken at all. I think it has more of a fish flavor than a chicken flavor,
Some people.
but definitely not flaky like fish. It's got like a chewier texture to it. But, I mean, the flavor's great. The
Good.
breading is what does it. Yeah, for sure.
And real simple, just remember dry, wet, dry, and straight into your fryer, and you'll come across with a beautiful product every time.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. All right, frog legs. You can get this, watch all three of these segments, and the food safety one is very important that we did first. On our website later this morning at KOAMnewsnow.com. And you can watch all of Chef Anthony's previous segments if you log on as well.
Enjoy. I have so much fun doing these. I can't wait for next week.
I know. Are we going to be able to keep you throughout the summer? I know school's not in session.
Oh, I suppose you've been, I'll be here.
All right. All right. We have a lot of fun with this too. All
I do too.
right. We'll be right back.
In Health Watch this morning, a hug from your partner could help ease some stress, and how getting a COVID vaccine could help even after having COVID-19. Naomi Rockham, she has today's top health stories.
Getting vaccinated even after a COVID-19 infection is linked to a decrease in long COVID symptoms. A new study published in the BMJ found that those who were vaccinated with the first dose after experiencing COVID saw a 13% drop in the odds of long COVID, or COVID symptoms that last months after clearing the virus. Those who received a second vaccine dose saw an additional 9% drop in the odds of long COVID. Having fewer friends and poor relationships as a child may be correlated with loneliness in old age. Researchers in Austria found that other childhood circumstances, like bad health or growing up in poverty, also contributed to loneliness later on. The odds of loneliness at age 50 and older more than doubled for people who rarely had comfortable friends when they were children. And a hug from someone you love may help you deal with a stressful situation. New research from Germany finds that when women embrace their romantic partner before going through a stressful experience, their bodies produced less of the stress hormone cortisol. The same was not true, however, for men. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Naomi Rockham, CBS News, New York.
Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Update the Skywatch Storm Tracker right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:33. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Joplin SWAT team is called in to help secure the scene for a drug bust Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. This is the latest sting for the Ozark Drug Enforcement Team. It started just before 11 Tuesday night at a home at 1107 East North Street. Witnesses say the SWAT team used a flash bang as the operation began. Officers detained the occupants across the street while detectives served a narcotics warrant, searching the house, a vehicle in the backyard, and a shed. JPD arrested a number of people, although the names and charges are unknown at this point. Detectives also recovered a reported stolen motorcycle. A fire causes extensive damage to a small residence in Joplin. On Wednesday afternoon, the Joplin Fire Department, Meds Ambulance, and Joplin Police responded to a fire in a small home on 18th Street. Joplin Police Department says no one was inside the structure. Firefighters extinguished the flames shortly after their arrival, and no one was injured fighting the blaze. Utilities responded to disconnect service due to the extensive damage to the residents. Fire officials are investigating the cause. Well, if you think your cat is ignoring you when you call its name, you may be right, because according to a new study, cats probably can recognize names. Specifically, research suggests cats may be able to recognize the names and faces of other cats who live in the same home. The Kyoto University study was published in the journal Scientific Reports. Researchers believe the number of cats in a home may influence their ability to remember names. More cats likely means fewer opportunities to learn the feline names and faces. As to how the cats learn names, that isn't yet known.
We're not supposed to know that. They're cats.
The world revolves around them. That's what I know about cats.
So I'm a dog person. Sorry, cat people. Not that I don't respect cats. I have nothing wrong with cats. Just more of a dog person.
Cats hold grudges.
Yeah, there's something. I thought that was Tim tapping on the glass. I thought I had said something that upset him about cats.
I don't know. It's something. Chef
Well,
Anthony's
our
doing
incomparable
something in the
director,
kitchen.
Tim Anderson, he does a marvelous job. He actually is a cat person, serious cat person. He's got 5 or 6 of them, and so that's why I wanted to make sure that I didn't upset him, because he holds the keys to the kingdom. So Tim,
Okay, so my question to
we
you,
love
Tim,
your cats.
do your 5 or 6 cats know their names? Is that too many for them to learn their names or not? I mean, the study
They run
tried to
that
look
household.
into that.
They know Tim's name. They call him by name. All right, Tanya, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning for Stone, Berry, and Lawrence counties lasting for the next 25 minutes. It's not just the torrential rain. We have not picked up any storm reports of hail as of yet, but this thing is capable of throwing down nickel-size hail. Now, we already have reports out of Arma in Crawford County, Kansas, about pea-size hail from earlier this morning. So let's start down here to the south, where we've got our heaviest of the rain. With that thunderstorm warning as it moves to the northeast. That's where everything is moving right now. So I want to point out Neosho, where flash flooding is a concern simply because of the terrain of the city and whatnot, because what's coming out of Ottawa County right now is going to head toward Neosho. Joplin's still in the midst of shower activity, nothing on the backside of it. As we get into the central portion of the 4 states, it is more just the showers instead of the heavy rain. But right here along I-49, now moving to the northeast of Nevada, just about through Rich Hill, that is the torrential downpour that you'll encounter out on the interstate. The rain is a far time from being over with, but at least we can calm down a little bit and not have to worry about the amount of lightning that we had earlier, as those strikes are now kind of limited to just where we're seeing the heaviest of the rain. Right there, that's a 30-minute time span. So if we were to back that off into like the last 5 minutes, you can tell that it's limited and trying to push out of our area. But once again, it's going to be a wet one for really the rest of the morning till I'd say around the noon hour. Those pockets of green that you see, that's 3/4 to an inch of accumulation that we picked up since midnight. And that's why, while we don't have any watches, warnings, or advisories out right now, we certainly know what areas of the 4 states are prone to flood. And so be wary of that, as our temperatures have actually dropped about 3 to 4 degrees since sunrise because of this system moving through. The thing about that, though, is we're going to rebound and rebound quickly. After this passes through, clouds break, sun comes out, humidity sticks around. So, yeah, you get down to the south and out to the west, we're going to have heat index readings of 92, 93 degrees later on this afternoon. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. We take this time to honor this morning's 4-state hero, Richard Redfield. Chief Master Sergeant Redfield served in the United States Air Force, where he received a Bronze Star, the National Defense Service Medal, and the Air Force Good Conduct Medal. The native of Sarcoxie, Missouri, we salute you, this morning's 4-state hero, Master Sergeant Richard Redfield. This morning for the KOAM News Now Instapoll and our Something to Talk About, playing in a band. One of those moments you only hear about in movies and perhaps makes truth stranger than fiction. Well, that kid on the drum is Kai Nukermans. He's 18 years old and found out that Pearl Jam's drummer came down with COVID. Well, Kai had met Eddie Vedder's daughter at a concert years back, and he texted her. She texted him back and said, send me a video of you playing some of my dad's songs. Well, Kai did. In no time, he found out he had the gig. Talk about a whirlwind of preparation. 18 years old and playing with Pearl Jam. Our question for you is if you've ever played in a band. Right now, I thought this would be a little bit closer than this. 64% of you say no, you haven't. 36% have. 2 ways to connect each and every morning. KOAMnewsnow.com/vote connects you right to the poll. Or you can always hit us up on our Facebook page at KOAM News Now. A Fox star went from comedy to competition and was revealed as the latest celebrity to leave the incomparable show, The Masked Singer. Well, she's incomparable herself. Her name is Ashley Dvorkin, and she caught up with the musical runner-up about making it so far in the season and how he said he gave his all on the Masked Singer stage.
Call him the Prince. Call Me Cat's Cheyenne Jackson was revealed as the ambitious amphibian on The Masked Singer.
I did the show initially just because people don't know me primarily as a singer. So I thought this is going to be a fun exercise in just really getting back to the music. But when I started, I really got into it.
Jackson even found a Masked Singer workout.
I practiced with a big motorcycle helmet on my head on the treadmill, like strengthening my neck muscles. And I was like, "I the tiger."
He loves how this latest role truly impressed his 5-year-olds.
I just told them I'm singing and I'm a frog. And so they're like, "Are you going to Frog tonight?" And then when it started airing, we all sat down and watched it together, and their little heads exploded. They were so excited, and my kids are like, "Allay, allay, allay." That was one of the main reasons I did it, to show them that I did something that was scary for me, just to put yourself out there, and also fun.
Cheyenne also has his own new music out now, and we'll see him back on Call Me Cat for season 3.
What I think people really love about it is we're living in a time right now where it's just so much strife and so much sadness, and our show is joy. It's unabashedly joyful and loving, quirky.
Hi, honey, I'm home.
In New York, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Apropos that on that Masked Singer update, we made frog legs with Chef Anthony. Be back with consumer news right after this.
College graduations are taking place across the country, and many students leaving school are having no problem joining the workforce. Dina Dimitris explains.
These college grads have a good reason to smile. Abigail Edwards' degree from North Carolina State University already helped her land a teaching job.
It's super high demand for teachers now, so it makes it easier on us to figure out a job, which is nice.
It's not just teachers. Employers across the economic spectrum need workers. The latest data shows there were 11.5 million job openings in March, the highest number ever recorded.
I feel great. I can't feel anything but great today.
Darnell Neville actually lined up a position as his final year of school was starting.
The job I'm at now, I got back in September.
The job market for the class of 2022 looks very promising.
Mary Gatta is with the National Association of Colleges and Employers. The group's recent survey found employers plan to hire 31% more new college graduates this year than last year.
And what are you seeing in terms of salaries?
So we continue to see salaries rising.
The average starting salary for business is more than $60,000, up 3% from last year. Engineering salaries have increased 4%, and computer sciences saw a 5.2% jump to nearly $76,000.
There's a lot of demand right now.
University of Alabama graduate Peyton Dyer received a degree in finance and real estate. He says he feels confident about his prospects.
With the market being like it is right now with real estate, I don't really think there's a lot to be concerned about job-wise.
A picture-perfect job market helping students make the transition from college to a career. Dina Demetrius, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The National Association of Colleges and Employers also found 18% of new jobs are fully remote, 40% are a hybrid model, and 42% are fully in person. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Legendary rock band The Police have a new live album and film coming out. Our man Rick Damigella talked with Andy Summers and Stuart Copeland about it.
The year was 1979 when The Police embarked on their first world tour years before achieving mega stardom. The band's new release, The Police Around the World Restored and Expanded, collects never-before-released live audio recordings with a documentary film long out of print.
Came out on Laserdisc, of which I think there were like 31 people who had a Laserdisc player, so it did not set the world on fire exactly. But it was actually Andy Summers who remembered, wait a minute, we got that cool movie that we made that nobody saw. Let's put it out.
The idea sort of got born because I was pushing it to come back, which eventually meant they had to find the original 16mm film. And I think they found it in a basement in London, dug it all out. And of course, there were a lot of repairs, bringing it up to snuff. This was kind of a big, simple idea just to go and play in places like India and Egypt and Greece and all that, and be in these different locales, which are all pretty exotic and could hopefully make for an entertaining film.
That world trip was actually not a commercial enterprise to open up new markets or anything. It was just to go to really cool places that are a lot of fun and very photogenic. And so it was more of an adventure.
Walking on the Moon in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Completely understandable if you catch yourself sitting in the office or wherever you work today singing SOS. Police Around the World Restored and Expanded is out tomorrow in DVD, Blu-ray, and vinyl editions. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. President Biden has invoked the Defense Production Act to ease the growing shortage of baby formula. The move allows the White House to give formula producers priority access to ingredients and other resources. The president also authorized sending military cargo planes overseas to obtain formula from other nations. Russia says nearly 1,000 Ukrainian fighters have surrendered after a month-long holdout at a Mariupol steel plant. The Ukrainian government ordered them to give up, saying they should save their lives after defending the city against overwhelming Russian attacks. COVID-19 cases are rising again in the U.S. The CDC says a third of the population lives in areas with an elevated risk of infection. The agency said officials in those places should encourage people to take precautions like wearing masks indoors.
All right, the severe thunderstorm warning that was for Berry and Stone counties has now moved off to the east of our highlighted region. Now, with that being said, we're still getting very heavy rain throughout Newton County. Flash flooding is definitely going to be a problem in Neosho proper. Up to the north, we're seeing heavy rain move to the east of I-49. And no matter where you go this morning, you're going to run into shower activity. But for the most part, we are just about done with the heaviest of the rain. This band that we see right here out to the west, this is going to split into two, with one of those taking off down to the south, but the other one with the showers, say from that Howard-Fredonia-Chanute line, and we see the heavier rain showers from Yates Center to Iowa. That will continue to the northeast. So we've got several more hours here before the precipitation is completely done. But like I said, for the most part, our threats of high wind and hail are slowly coming to an end, and our lightning has greatly calmed down as well. There's our lightning strikes. As you can see, those moving toward the Springfield area. Remember, after the showers are done, it is going to be hot and humid this afternoon. Here's where we stand right now. We've actually had a nice drop in our temperatures, rather mild when you step outside. Don't step outside without an umbrella. But by the time we get into the afternoon, we're talking about heat index readings of probably 92, 93 for the south and for the west. In the north and eastern portions, jockeying around 89 to 90. And in the central, probably about 90, 91 is what we're looking at. So if you thought yesterday was a tad bit muggy, it's actually going to be a little bit more oppressive for this afternoon.
We'll just have to get used to it. It's summer, right?
I'm
trying to think of something positive to say with like the rain and the humidity.
As you told me at noon yesterday, when you, I don't want to say you berated me. I would never say that.
So get
but
used
you
to
made
it.
it clear that I was not breaking any news by saying it's humid.
True that.
True, definitely true that. Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.